start with you, Modesta, because you are literally to the
you,
right
Yavi.
of me. So you're the easiest for me to come to. Thank you so much.
Thank you for the introductions, and thanks to Anne as well. And I'm grateful for the opportunity to be here to participate and present at this very esteemed conference today. So I am a lawyer, and I'm also a trade policy consultant with CATS International. So CATS is an international non-governmental organization that functions as a resource center for information on international trade, regulation, and governance. So our core mission is to build local, national, and regional capacities of multiple stakeholders on issues related to trade and development. We all know there's enough research that points to the fact that globally, close to about 40% of micro, small, and medium-scale enterprises are owned by women. The statistics is even higher in African countries. But however, a survey that we undertook earlier on in the year revealed that although we had a lot of women-led micro, small, and medium-scale enterprises and traders in Ghana, a lot of them had no idea about the African Continental Free Trade Area or how their businesses could even benefit from it. So in partnership with the German Development Corporation, GIZ, and the Aya Institute, last week, Friday, we organized a public-private sector dialogue on making the African Continental Free Trade Area work for women-led MSMEs and traders in Ghana. So the session focused on how we could practically enhance the capacity of women-led micro, small, and medium-scale enterprises so they can take advantage of the AFSA. Thank you.
I really want to ask this question to Modesta. And the reason why I want to ask this question, and she can share her story, I am part of what an organization called Trade Experts. Basically, we are women in trade who happen to be female, right? So we are trade experts. It just happens to be female, right? And she's part of the Young African Trade Experts. And I met her basically being in that forum, and she will tell the story, and the person who is mentoring her and the experience she's had being able to then go to Geneva. Basically, what we are saying is women supporting other women, and especially young women of Africa, is very important in business, in policy. We are not leaving anyone behind. So Yavi, I want to take over, but I would like Modesta to share some more about her experience at the Yates and the work that the experience that she's had and how that has helped her career. Welcome, Modesta. Thank you.
Thank you, Anne. I'll just like to digress for just a minute, and I want to make a contribution to Madeleine's presentation on trade expertise before I touch on the Yates experience. So I agree with Madeleine to an extent, but I also disagree. The point of this departure is on when she stresses that for someone to put out themselves, or for someone to be qualified as a trade expert, the person should have lived the experience. What I want to say is that you can gain expertise through experience, like she said. You can also obtain trade expertise by training, like some of us have. And the two are not mutually exclusive, because even though women traders and entrepreneurs are the ones living the real life experiences, with the issues of explaining trade policies are important. We need people who would be able to explain the trade policies to the entrepreneurs and traders on the ground. Issues of data is important. We need economists. We need people that will monitor and evaluate if the policies that are even being implemented are achieving its objects. And so in that light, you can't separate expertise from expertise that is based on experience from that has been acquired from training. And in my case, for instance, I have postgraduate studies in international trade and investment, or currently at CATS International. I designed trade policy. I design training models, training schedules, workshop based on for women engaged in small and medium scale enterprises. And so based on that, I can say that I've got some experience in international trade, because I am engaged in engaged in the formal aspects of international trade through the training, and so in that vein, experience, trade expertise from experience, and that's acquired from training. They are not mutually exclusive, and so the two cannot be separated. Both sides, both types of experience or expertise are very necessary if we are to achieve or attain women economic empowerment. So that was just on that. For my experience at the trade expert, I was actually very happy that Madeleine, and I think even Paulina had also mentioned, like always undertaking mentorship programs for young people. So the Young African Trade Experts Program is a platform for engagements of young, it identifies talents, young African talents who are involved in various aspects of international trade. So we have people with expertise in law, we have economics, we have financial analysts in our midst. And the program is under the initiative of Bogolo Konewendo, who is a former trade minister for Botswana, and Hannah Norbeck. So we realized that if Africans, if we are to benefit especially from a program like the African Continental Free Trade, like I already said, then experience and expertise cannot be overemphasized. So through the program like the Young African Trade Experts Program, the young people in the fellowship are given a platform for engagement with experts in the field. More importantly, there's opportunity for us fellows to contribute to the trade discourse through blog posts, podcasts, conference presentations like I am doing here. And so I am here today presenting on this topic because of my involvement, or because I am one of the fellows who who were selected to participate in the program this year. So basically that's it. Thank you.
Thank you, Modesta. Yeah, so it's important to have both sides of the coin, you know, and it's important to be able to understand it from all aspects, I suppose. And as you were saying, you know, as much as if you don't have the lived experience, if you've got the qualifications, but there is a lot to be said about, you know, expertise all coming around the table in terms of different levels. So I have a half a question for you, because you've answered actually half of my question. So I have half the rest of it to ask you. Is that do we find that there's an influx of women that are coming in as trade experts, especially from a young woman's perspective? Do you see that there's an influx, or is there still kind of a shortage and a gap?
Thank you, Yavi. So the answer to that is a big no. Like in all areas in the formal sector, we don't have enough women trade experts at the multilateral level, and certainly not at the continental level where we are. So if I'm to do a top-down analysis, taking it right from the multilateral level, which would be like from the WTO to the continental level, the African Continental Free Trade Area, to regional levels within the various regional economic communities like the EAC, ECOWAS, down to the national levels, we don't have enough trade experts. So if, for instance, at the multilateral level, we are just like recently very lucky enough to have 3 women spearheading international trade. That is a bit unprecedented, because it is the first time it's happening. For instance, now we have Dr. Ngozi as the DG of the WTO. We also have Pamela Cook-Hamilton leading the International Trade Center. And then finally, we have Isabella Durant as the Secretary General of UNCTAD. If we take the experience of someone like Dr. Ngozi, if we take Dr. Ngozi's appointment, for example, what it means is that at the multilateral level, going back as far as the ashes of the Second World War, which gave us the GATT in 1947, right all the way to the Uruguay round, which birthed the current WTO in 1992. We've never had a woman at the helm of affairs, and that is very sad and unfortunate. It doesn't get any better at the continental and regional levels either. So if the ACTA will work for women across all levels, both formal and informal sectors, we need expertise of female trade experts. And I would also like to use the opportunity to highlight again the need and essence of programs like the Young African Trade Experts Program, what Madeleine does, and then what Pauline also does with Always. Like these avenues or platforms are very important and necessary for training and identifying young women professionals, because I don't think there are any group of people that can speak to or identified with issues of trade on the continent than Africans ourselves. And there's enough research to show that women are more engaged in economic activities, both especially in the informal sector. So we are the ones that can speak to our experiences, like Madeleine said. If you go to the women engaged in informal cross-border trade, I don't think the woman, there's anybody else that is better experienced to talk about issues affecting them at the borders than them. And so we need a lot of experts in the field. Thank you.
For sure. Thank you, Modesta. Modesta.
Thank you, Yavi. So if I had the opportunity to be the Minister of Trade, my first task will be the initiation and development of a policy framework for women empowerment in the country with 2 key commitments and strategies. So first, the first commitment will be on women's empowerment and livelihood. So the objects for this commitment will be to accelerate efforts and commitments of government in empowering women, particularly women with disabilities, so they can have safe and secure livelihood. My strategy for this commitment will be seeking strategic partnership and support for women. So from such partnerships, we can mobilize sector-wide funding support for these women with the help of development partners and even some civil society organizations. My second policy commitment will be on economic opportunities. And here, the aim will be to improve economic opportunities for women and women-led enterprises. For strategy, the strategy to achieve this commitment will be through the promotion of secure and affordable financial services to women in the informal sector, particularly. I'm sure we can all agree that one of the biggest constraints women entrepreneurs and traders, particularly those in the informal sector, face is on access to financial resources. So that is the motivation for this. The second strategy for this will be to facilitate an enabling environment for women producers and traders to form networks and dialogue for improved cross-border trade procedures and practices, especially the legal, security, and protection matters. I think one of the panelists spoke about the issues around cross-border trade, where we have most of the constraints revolves around issues of discrimination, understanding terrorist market. So basically, it will just be to improve cross-border trade procedures and practices that revolves around these issues. And then finally, the strategy another strategy will be to facilitate gender equality and women's empowerment issues to cover very practical and pertinent areas such as fair trade for African commodities. Thank you.
Thank you, Modesta. Thank you. I love having the youth voice at the table.